this has been for me a really good week about living with the game because I dropped the ball this week, and I'll talk about that in a little while. But I think I'll go into the material first, unless anybody has a question or comment from what we've covered already. If not, we'll start. This is week 6 of our 8, so we have 2 more beyond this one. This week, we're going to cover 3 chapters. Game play. So this is really the heart of how the game is played. The rest of it has been preparatory material, the laws and the rules and our emotion scale. But here's the real crux of gameplay right here. And I think the easiest way to describe it is like we're taking a road trip. If we go on a road trip these days, what we do is we put in that destination address in our GPS. At least that's the way I do it. And we get some routes. If we haven't specified our preferences, we may get multiple routes that we can get to pick from. If we have already put in that I don't want freeways, or I don't want construction roads or something like that, then we already get those filtered out. But let's say we pick our destination, and the one we pick is then highlighted with, on my GPS, a blue line indicates the chosen route. Some of them, I think, have a purple line, but anyway, it's blue or purple. That goes all the way from where I am to my destination. And then it starts to give me some turns, like, in a mile, turn here, turn left or right, or turn on this street, or whatever. And if I follow those turns, I eventually get to my destination. But sometimes I miss a turn. I don't know, I needed to turn left and I was in a right-hand lane, or the instructions, I didn't find them clear enough for me to follow, and I thought I did it right, but I didn't. And so what happens is I get off the path. I can see that on the GPS map because it has a little icon for either my car or a blue triangle or something that's moving along this path. And when I get off the path, I can see I'm off the path because I'm not on the blue line anymore. And then what happens is the GPS calculates a new route for me and gives me some updated instructions about how to get back on the path. Maybe a totally new path. I know that happens when I leave my house. One of the GPSs that I have constantly wants to send me down a way I don't want to go. So every block I pass, it keeps saying turn left at the next corner. And then when I pass that one up, it says turn left at the next corner. And then it eventually gives up and takes me on the route that I want to take. So that's pretty much how traveling with the GPS goes these days. And I think just about everybody is familiar with that. Well, that's very much like playing the game of life, because the destinations are the things we want, our desires. And so we have them. We have picked them. We've thought about them. We've maybe decided on them consciously, maybe not so consciously. Maybe we've even written them down, like this is where I want to go this year or next year or within the next 5 years or whatever. But our desires are our destinations. And the game is structured so that we get there. And the way we get there is the law of attraction matches up a path to match our desires based on the things we think about. It prepares a path. And we get the messages, the prompts, the turns, the instructions from our intuition, which is our inner spirit. It's the peace of God within us. That's where we get the instructions. Sometimes we listen, and when we do, we progress along the path and are surprised often by how rapidly what we want occurs, that we reach our destinations. Sometimes we don't listen, and we make some turns that aren't on the path. So we get off the blue line, I would say. And usually we know it because things aren't going so well. And we can listen for some new instructions about how to get back on the path. And when we do, we can tell by where we're usually go up the emotional scale, because we're usually down when we get off the path. That's an indication. So we get back on the path, climb up the emotional scale, feeling good again, and back on the path. So that's pretty much how the game is played. Got any questions about that, or how does that analogy sit with you? Anybody?
I think using the computer as an example is a great idea because we all use computers and it really makes sense and it resonates.
Good. Glad you like it. Hi, Lee. So this week, I got off my blue path. I didn't listen. I was so enthusiastic about the momentum that it looked like the Democratic Party had developed. I got a little carried away, and I sent an email to my list, which was about 1,000 people, that both told them to buy my book and also take one of these actions recommended by somebody else. And that really wasn't my path, because I didn't really have permission to introduce somebody else's agenda into this conversation that we're having. And so I realized that mistake. Some other people helped me realize it. And so I did what all of us players do when we get off the path. We stop and listen to the new set of instructions to get back on and forgive ourselves. That's part of it. And climb back up the path. And in my case, so besides the messages, the emails about this meeting that you got this week, you also got 2 others from me. One of which was my over-enthusiasm on Sunday, and the other one was my apology for that yesterday, I believe, or the day before. So I don't know if you opened or read those, but that's what that was about.
Mm.
So I think it was excellent example of playing the game, because that's what I was trying to do, and that's what I've done by admitting that I've got some more to learn too, just like everybody else. So we're all human, and we're going to make, like every game player, like every baseball player or football player, makes errors every once in a while. That's just part of it. That's part of learning the skill. We just have to take it as building a skill. Virginia, I see you came back in, so you wanted to say something?
Me?
Yeah, yes, I think just learning how the game is structured and knowing the rules of the game doesn't mean that anybody is above making mistakes. But we have a frame of reference and we know how to get back on track, which is good.
That's the important part. I mean, yeah, I think, yes, certainly. Knowing the game, that's what this is all about, is I wrote this so people know how the game works and how to play it and how to be successful in it. Just like any game, you've got to have the instructions. You've got to know how it works anyway. So that's what we're doing, exploring how it works.
And so divine intervention stepped in, had you make a little mistake and show us how to handle it.
That's right.
Thank you.
Eva?
Oh, yes, I want to say something. I was never an athlete, and I didn't get to play any game. They always put me out in the field picking daisies, you know. But my grandkids are so into sports, and well, Joy was too, my daughter, but I never knew what was going on. But now I'm really focused on these grandkids. They're playing baseball and football, and I love the volleyball tournaments. I get to watch them on online in real life all over the country. But the point I want to make is that what I learned from them is that they know the rules. They know how they're striving. They work out to do everything possible. They take all the classes. They practice, but when the volleyball game, especially when they made a mistake, and honestly, they made mistakes. I mean, I was watching it like a hawk. They were making mistakes constantly. I mean, every other minute, somebody made another mistake. And they don't even pay any attention to it. They just go right on, get back in place, hit the ball again, jump around. They kind of fist each other, you know, all the time. So at first I thought maybe they won the point, but no, they fist even when they lose. It was so cool. So it's a good lesson for me because I always beat myself up if I made a mistake, if I got caught, you know, making a mistake. So I hand it to you, Duncan, for being vulnerable. It's good for community building.
Well, we're all going to make mistakes. It's what we do with them after that. That's the point. Yes. Okay.
Hey, Duncan.
Yes.
Hi, this is Heather, and I'm sorry my camera's off. I'm sick, so I'm gonna just keep it off.
But go
I
ahead.
will. Thank you. I thought your email was great, and I'm a little bit confused on how or why you think you made a mistake, and I was hoping you could elaborate on that because I didn't personally have a problem with it and I'm all for it. So I don't understand.
Okay. So yes, because you are all for it, you see no error there. But basically what I did is because you signed up for this program, that's all you expect to get on my emails. And I put somebody else's program or agenda on the email. May not have upset you, but it was not the right thing for me to do. And there are people that it did upset. And so, and justly so. So that was the error. The error was I used your email because when you signed up, they had a little thing under it and said something like, I won't misuse your email or trust me or something like that. And I violated that. So that's what the error was, even if you didn't sense it. Did that
Got it.
that clarify?
Yeah, no, it does. It does. Yeah. But yeah, I guess, yeah, it does. But I guess I'm just like, I get where you were coming from and your heart was in a good place and you're trying to change the world along with,
That's
you
right.
know,
In my
yeah,
in my enthusiasm to do that, I saw it all being part of the same thing, but it still was somebody else's agenda, not mine, that I tagged along with or brought into.
Yeah.
It's sort of like if I'm giving you a ride in my car and I decide to pick up a hitchhiker along the way, you might not really feel too good about that. So that's it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. Although, yeah, I get it. I get it. I think that we would definitely need to have a conversation about before.
It was sort of the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm all for you changing the world, and you can use my email if it has anything to do with, you know, the upcoming election. I'm all for it. And Harris specifically, so obviously. So
Yeah. All right. Well, you'll get all of her stuff directly, so that's fine. If you did,
yeah.
if you don't know about Michael Moore, then sign up for him too.
Yeah, no, I will. I actually do know about him, but I'm not signed up. So thank you for making that suggestion. I will absolutely do it.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Welcome, Yvonne. All right. The next thing to talk about is the next topic. And the next topic, the next chapter is scoring. So games have scores. And why do games have a score? For two reasons. One is to tell the spectators who's winning. That's why they have a big scoreboard at football games, basketball games, everywhere. So the spectators know who's winning because they're there cheering their team on and they want to know. And the second reason is so at the end, everybody knows who won. So that's the reason for scoreboards. All right. So in life's game, uh, there isn't the competition which a standard sports game has. So there isn't need for a public score. Nobody is keeping track of your life besides you, or at least if they are, it's none of their business. But anyway, you're the one keeping track of your life. So you don't need an external public scoreboard on your front door or your window or any place to say how you're doing. And there's no competition because no matter what's happening, the law of expansion is causing sufficient resources, sufficient everything for everyone to satisfy their needs. So there's no shortage of joy. There's no shortage of abundance. There's no shortage of relationship. It's not like there's just a tank full someplace that everybody's drawing on and it's going down and it'll be empty someday and the next person won't get any. So all of these things are part of the flow, the energy that we're playing this game in. And the flow is resupplied by the law of expansion. So there's an endless supply. So nobody's running out. And so that's why there's no competition between each of us for the things we want in life. They're all possible. There's no limitation except that which we put on it by our own decision of thinking there's limitation. Because we get what we think. That's the law of attraction. So if we think there's a limit and we think we can't have it, then that will be true. But that's not because it's factually true or really true. It's because we have thought it into existence for us. So scoring is different. No public score. How about a private score? Well, we can tell how we're doing because that's part of what the scoreboard is for. We can tell how we're doing two ways. The first way is we can tell instantaneously by how we're feeling. So if we're feeling high vibration, we're feeling satisfaction, having fun, joy, love, then we're playing the game well, we're winning at the moment. And if we're feeling glum, fearful, disappointed, regretful, we're not playing so well. So that's the instantaneous how we're playing. And we can change how we're playing instantaneously because we control our thoughts, and we can change to something that feels better. Longer term, we can tell how we're playing by whether or not the things we want or like show up. Because if we follow our GPS, we get to the destinations. So if we stay on the path, we'll get to destinations, which are the things that we want, the things that we have decided we want to be in our path of life. They'll show up. So that's another way we can tell. If things keep showing up, then that means that we're playing well. If nothing shows up, probably means we're not playing so well. And we could probably just look at how we feel, because we won't be feeling that great. We'll be disappointed. We'll be in a negative vibration, emotion, and that's our instantaneous guide there. So that's a little, I'm sure this is new territory for some of you. Want to talk about this a little bit?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
I will argue. I'll go first. I'm hearing like, well, so it means everything that we heard when we were kids, like, as a man thinketh, so is he. I love that little book by James Allen. I got it when I was like 18. And then something like the Sermon on the Mount, take no thought for all the things, because God knows what you want. He's going to provide it, basically. It sounds like magic, doesn't it? But then the whole idea is love your neighbor as yourself. So when you actually are able to pull that off, you're in that place. You're in that place where you can hear those things. And I'm one of those people that are flying high. And I'll start a little group of people who want to keep the enthusiasm going. That's it.
Hi, Yvonne, I see you trying to talk, so let me see if I can help you out by, like last time I did something that let you click on something. How's that? Does
Okay, that worked. I
that
don't know if I contribute very much. I've had a good life, and I'm very happy with a lot of my life. But now I'm kind of coming to the end of it, I think. But I've always tried to live by the golden rule, and you know that. And but sometimes we're just happy. I'm happy just the way I am, but I would like more. I think a little more happiness, like excitement in my life, and I guess what? I've had something happen that I think it's going to take me there. So we'll see. But you talk about people. I was in the parking lot at Ralph's, and this woman came up and invited me to do this and do that, and I'm going, okay. And turns out she's a friend of a friend that lives up here behind the gate, up here down on Crest, and I know her. He used to live on this block next to us, so I knew. So I'm getting involved with that group, and then I'm in the DAR. So I'm moving forward to enlarge my group of people to give me more experiences, because I think that's important. You can't stay home and find experiences. So we have to get out and about. That's the way we find them. And, but I've already traveled. I've already done everything, had a good life, and I'm going to be a great grandmother in January. And my Hannah's having a little girl, Ella Rose. So blessings, more blessings coming.
So
And
you
but
just,
I'm
just-
worried some like you are, your grandchildren, their direction, and their happiness. But I'm pretty happy, but I'm not fully happy. You're still waiting maybe for a little bit more happiness. You don't know where it's coming from, but I'm going to give it a go.
well, you already are. And so isn't it interesting? So this lady just walks up to you in the parking lot.
Yes, and they're helping to
wait-
put my groceries in the car, which they never do. And she comes up and says, "Why don't you put my groceries in the car?" And, anyway, we're just got along so well. And lo and behold, she teaches cycling at the LA. Don't know what the name of the gym is, but it's up by the theater and terraces.
LA Fitness.
LA Fitness, and she wants me to come. And and I'm having a bit of movement problems, that. And so now I'm going to do that, but I told her I have to wait because I'm really busy this week because my kids came in from Hawaii and they've been going everywhere. And so and then I have a pool party on meeting more of my new in-laws. They're having a housewarming with the pool party. So another event, but I'm trying to get to all the events because I never know when my significant other one is going to be there. But she tells me, oh, I can't even tell you what she told me, but it was really funny. And she said she had one of her people come that he could hardly walk. And now he's chasing all the girls that are doing the cycling. So I said, "Oh, I'll be there." Got to meet this person. But anyway, it sounds fun. That's why I think you can open life up. It's fun. But you also have the serious side. And you have to pay attention to the serious side if you want to make sure that we have a good life. So we have to have the serious side, do our due diligence. I was getting ready to vote, and you need to do that. And you know that too. Okay.
So
It was good.
So Yvonne, what's happening is you're
Expansion.
you're in the flow. And
Yes.
therefore the law of attraction is matching up these things that seem like, where did they come from? But the law of attraction is what makes these matches happen.
I know. I've had it before in my life twice, and more, actually more. So I understand that, and it's amazing. Such a big world, but such a small world. It's just amazing. I know exactly what you're talking about. And both of my husbands, they tapped me on my left shoulder. I started thinking about it. The one, I was in a group and he tapped me on my left shoulder and I turned around. I just almost knew instantaneously he was the one. I don't know. I just knew. And the same thing happened with my second husband. Tapped me on the shoulder to go down. Isn't that a coincidence? I started thinking about, well, so now I'm sort of hanging out with my left shoulder. Like,
You kind of sticking your left shoulder out, huh?
oh, come on. Where are you? But anyway, life is good. But I've had so many problems. My window broke in the car, went down, didn't come up. I had to go take that to the auto repair. I haven't told you this, but I set my garage on fire because I turned on the oven to 450, went back to get the food to put in came back to roaring flames coming out of my oven. So my son, we had a fire extinguisher I bought for his boat. See, another coincidence? He grabbed it up and he sprayed it all over and he stopped the fire. So we put the fire out. So we have lots of coincidences. I bought a fire extinguisher for his boat and put it in my garage right there where we needed it. Isn't that something? So my house didn't catch on fire, just my stove. I'm going to need a new stove, but it was old anyway. That's probably why it caught on fire. So I'm ready for a new one. But anyway, I see so many coincidences, so many things that line up. We have a problem, but we also have a solution that seems to be brought right in the front of us. And it's just happening to me all the time. I'm starting to pay attention, just like you said, and it is happening to me. I am in the flow.
Good.
Somebody's watching out for me for sure. I'm in the garden. I call it in the garden too. I'm
All
in the
right,
garden.
Eva,
Yeah, I want to say that that sounds like one of my favorite things I first heard. A coincidence is where God wishes to remain anonymous. So you're asking for things and they're being given to you, and we call them coincidences. I just love it.
that's great. Anybody else? Yvonne? Okay, the next topic, the next chapter is about the game of life referee. So if you've been looking for him, the guy with the striped shirt that waves his hand or blows the whistle, you've probably found him already. He goes by the name of the law of attraction. So it works not only as our GPS to bring us to the destinations we want when we break the rules or violate them. The law of attraction brings us the things we don't want. That's the penalties, if you want. That's the way the system is built, so that the referee, the umpire, is built in. That's why the concept of heaven and hell really is heaven and hell is our existence here, because we get our punishment and reward by the law of attraction working with whatever we think and do. So there is no other referee, and there's no scorecard or penalty book that's being built up from things we do here for a payoff after this life, a payoff in hell or a payoff in heaven. The payoff happens as we go along in the law of attraction. So that's a concept that's different than many. And let's have a little discussion about that. So I say it's like a boomerang. So everything we do or think is like a boomerang. I went to Australia and saw some natives there throwing boomerangs. And I actually tried to understand the aerodynamics of the way a boomerang is made. It's very complex. The way the air flows over they're like wing foils of the boomerang. The two sides are slanted differently, which is the reason that it goes in a circle when you throw it and it comes back to you. Anyway, that's the way our actions and our thoughts work in this life. They boomerang back to us. And we actually have a saying about that. What goes around comes around, which is just another way of saying the law of attraction works. What we do to other people is what happens to us. Maybe not from the same person, but the disaster will come back to us, the hell on earth, or the heaven on earth. Okay, I'm ready for comments on that idea. Anybody? Blanca? Heather? iPhone 32, Judy, Virginia, Lee, Eva. Okay.
I really like what you said about that, the boomerang.
Have you ever felt that?
Yes. Because if when one has a bad day, you're just being negative, and then for some reason your bad day just seems to get worse because you're just putting out all that negative energy and it's coming right back to you.
That's the way it works.
Versus a happy day when you're just so happy and you're just, hey, hi, and you're just feeling all this sunshine coming from all directions. So I really like that part. Thank you.
I agree. I really like it too. I feel like I feel like the goodness and the love that I have for everybody else comes back to me a million times more.
That's right. Oh, that's the saying, what you give comes back tenfold, right? That's saying. There's got to be some truth to these things that are popular mottos or sayings.
I think it's a lot better way to live your life to be having happiness and boomeranging happiness back. It's a much better way to live. If you have to make a choice,
It's more
know,
fun.
so find out what makes you happy. If you're feeling blue, and try to do that. If you want to eat that banana split, eat it. Or have that something anything that makes you feel good. I think but boomerangs were originally made to take down game, I think, weren't they? And then they would come back.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is very interesting. Yes.
Eva?
I forgot. I'll be back. I forgot. It was a very good thought. I'll be back.
May I say something?
Sure.
I agree that the energy you put out, you get the same one back. And what you want for others, it will happen to you. So being happy, being positive, it's the most part. But I want to know, what are those people that like totally innocent and
Being killed.
they got some, yeah, or like a little baby that was born with cancer and whole his or her life has to battle cancer, or the parents that they had, they were bringing a child to this world with hope and happiness and looking forward into having a healthy baby. Where do we put this? Is it like, or like just put a bomb on some innocent people that's gonna affect their genes for decades? How do we explain that?
The answer is we don't. It's impossible for us to know what somebody else's life is like. We don't know what they want, what they're intending. We don't know what they chose to come here for. So you chose to come for this lifetime, and you had a reason. I don't know what it is, and you're trying to remember and figure it out, and that's the same with everybody. So I think it's useless to try to understand what's happening to somebody else. We have control over what happens to us and by what we think, and that's what we can do. I think it's a waste of time to try to understand why something happens to someone else.
Well, I don't believe that I don't know. I don't believe that we have control of ourselves. Like the situation with the baby that has cancer. The baby doesn't have cancer because he wants it or chose it, but it's what you learn from it that is important.
And,
And-
and maybe they find a cure because of that baby for other children and the research that comes from that illness. There are things that happen and people learn and from problems. Working in medical field, sometimes we learn things just from having, being involved with people who have that problem.
It
And-
doesn't even have to be that important. The lesson doesn't have to be that important.
I understand, yes.
So let's just, since we're making a hypothetical, let's make some more hypotheticals. Suppose that that soul who is that baby, that spirit, chose to come to experience what it's like to be ill, because perhaps in another lifetime they had a parent or a sister or even a child who was ill and wanted to come with and get that experience. I don't know that that's the case, but it maybe. So I mean, we'll never know. I mean, yes, we will eventually, but not in this lifetime. Maybe afterwards we can find that baby soul and ask them. I think we'll all learn those things afterwards in the next life. Now, not a next life in the what goes beyond this life, this transition, which is another chapter next week, I think.
I
Eva?
was yeah, I was thinking, it's something about what helps me most with those questions, is the questions like Gaza and and all this insanity that we're living with. So I think to myself, well, how can I be happy? How dare I be happy in the midst of all this? But then it's like something about do not judge by appearances. I mean, Plato said that you can't judge by appearances, and Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world." So between the two, and then the Buddhist philosophers talk about that it's all an illusion. That miasma of the world is called miasma. In other words, it's not even real. So that helps me because I think to myself, it doesn't mean that the real world with a capital R, the spiritual world, isn't real and beautiful and loving and hopeful, and we are blessed, all that. At the same time, this stuff is going on out there that just does not add up. So I totally understand how that feels. But it helps me to think that, well, possibly it's true, that this is all my kingdom, not of this world. This is the worldly kingdom. It's an illusion. It's happening on another dimension. The real dimension is where we want to spend most of our time, because we have to let go of what we can't control. And so then maybe we could control being happy, and that might make an effect on the world, which is probably what's going on.
It's deep. That's very deep, but I can get you. I get you. And I do a lot of praying too. We can all pray for things to get better. And you know what? Prayers get answered. So they do get answered.
Virginia?
Duncan, I had a question from something you said before about the baby soul. Are you using the word spirit and soul interchangeably?
I was in that moment, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That's an
I think
interesting.
our spirit and soul are interchangeable.
Well,
When- when we-
some people think otherwise. So, and,
Yeah.
and the technicality.
Well, I guess what I was asking was, in clarifying it, I wanted to understand what your theory is, if they are interchangeable in your theory or if they're distinctive, separate entities.
So I take both soul and inner spirit to be that divine life force which is in us.
Okay, me too. Good.
Okay, let's.
With
Any-
people, I worked with that death and dying and all that. We did a study, and it's significant how we just shut down, you know, when it leaves. And at the moment, we get lighter because we did an in-depth study at Metropolitan State Hospital, and I was part of that study. So, yep, they trying to find out what happens and where we go. You know, there's always that, and they wanted to know how to stop some deterioration of the brain, you know, that causes Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and MS and all that, those diseases. But anyway, when you work in an area like that, you need to keep joyfully and happy afterwards, that's for sure. Okay.
So I think we talked about the main topics in these 3 chapters. If you haven't read them, I suggest that you do so. And read the ones for next week. We're getting towards the end of the series, 2 more weeks. So week 7 next week and week 8 after that. And I'll see if I can plan something for us after that.
Thank
So-
you.
Any final comments or thoughts?
Well, it's good to talk to you all again, and I enjoyed this. It makes me think, and I think that's really important also. You know, to use our brains and kind of dwell on some deep thinking here.
Well, good. I appreciate you all showing up. If those of you who, well, I was at 12 o'clock exactly, nobody else was here, and I thought that I had broken the system or something, but everybody, you all showed up shortly thereafter, so thank you.
I'm sorry, but I had to order a phone for my son because also his phone broke. And it was a matter if I'm going away this weekend to Laguna Surf, and he had to have a phone. And they finally got back to me, and we were trying to get it shipped out, and I that's what made me a little late. I'm sorry. Try to be a little early next time. Bye-bye.
I'm not scolding anybody for being late. I'm just,
No. I have an idea. I have an idea.
Oh,
Am I
I'm
on?
so sorry to interrupt, but I just want to say bye. Thank you all. I have a 1 o'clock appointment.
Okay,
Thank
bye-bye.
you so
Bye.
much and
Bye.
see you guys next week.
Bye.
Thanks for coming. I have an idea. Maybe you could ask people what topic they would like to discuss. I mean, that, because I love the idea of getting together and just sharing and hearing each other. I think it's good for us.
Mhm.
So maybe the people here could send an email with their suggestion topics they'd like to discuss.
that's an idea.
Maybe like know thyself.
I,
That's mine.
I'm going to be so busy because I am probably going to be in Laguna Surf trying to talk with you. I'm going to be on vacation next week, and I'm going to the pageant of the Masters, staying by the ocean, right on the beach. And I'm going to wait to see if somebody taps me on the shoulder.
will be waiting
So
for you.
anyway, you guys have fun. I will come on the iPhone to see you. Bye-bye, and I enjoyed. But next week it's vacation time, but I'm still going to come at 12 on next Wednesday. Okay, bye-bye. I'll show you the ocean while I'm there. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Susan. Bye.
Duncan, I want
Thank you
to
very much.
say,
Bye. Oh,
thank you,
Okay.
Duncan, for this lesson, and thank you for looking ahead to making a plan and putting something together for when this is finished. I appreciate it. And I'm always interested in learning from you, what your thoughts are, what your theories are. because I find them really very helpful and interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so if anybody has any ideas about what they would like to do next, I'm open.
We'll email you. Thank you.
Yes, okay. Bye for now.
Bye. See you next.
Thank you, Duncan. Thank you, Eva.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you guys next week.
Okay.